Hello guys, into this tutorial we are going to take care of our player's death. Our older player, when he died, the only thing that he did was restart the scene without nothing happening. This one will be different, but still we'll be using some of the code of the older player, which I will explain. Okay, in our older player, what happened was, whenever he triggered something with attack deadly, he would die. And just like when he entered something, also if he stayed there he will die, and also if he collided with something with attack deadly he will die. Anyways, we're going to simply copy this one, the first one, and place it here on the bottom of our new player script. And what we want to do is, instead of doing this thing, we're going to delete this. We're going to first want to play the death animation. So the death animation isn't created yet because I haven't created it yet. Anyways, let's make that animation. I have here the sprites. You can download them in the description. Anyways, put them over here and do what we always do with all the sprites, which is change this to multiple. In this case, this to 10. True color, sprite editor 20 by 20. Slice it, apply. And now let's click on our player. Here it is. Go on to the animation controller and let's create a new animation called player 2 deaths or dies or whatever, like so, and just copy and paste all of these sprites into here, like so. Change the sample size to 15, and one thing that you also want to do is to find this player to death animation in your project files. Mine is in the sprites for some reason, and change and uncheck loop time so that it doesn't loop. Now in the animator we have this death animation created for us, and we want to do is to go from any state to the death state whenever our player dies. So let's create a parameter here, a bool parameter called death or dies or whatever, and whenever dies is true, our player dies. And let's set that in the code. So we're going to access the animator controller, and we're going to set the bool called dies to be true so that animation will play. One thing that we also want to do is to also give the player a little boost up, just like in Mario, where when a player eats something and dies it goes up and then it goes down. We're going to do something similar using a ridge by 2d.add force new vector 2, and we're going to give it a port force of 500. This is just a number that I came up with, and probably this should be working right now. Let's paste this in and take this little guy over here out of here. Let's get spikes from the prefabs, and as you can see they are triggered and they have the deadly tag. So now if we go against it, you'll see that the death animation plays. But one thing that's happening is that we can still move the player, which is kind of stupid. And to fix this issue, we're going to go into mail develop and create a variable here on the top which will be a bool called isDead. And here on when our player dies, we want to set isDead to true, equal to true. And now we're going to make a guard clause which prevents all the code in the update function to run, which is just by typing if isDead is true, then return. And this way none of this code will on the update function will be executed, and that way our player can't move. But still we're going to get an error, because you can see that our player kinda keeps going. And another mistake that might happen is this one, which is our player keeps jumping in there, and we're going to fix both of these mistakes. by typing here before our player jumps into the air the rigid body 2D dot velocity, and we're going to set that to be equal to vector2 dot 0, which is no speed at all. And to fix the problem of our player keeping always jumping, we're going to add here in the if clause to make this happen only and only if he hits something deadly and is not dead, like so. And now both of those issues should be fixed and will be taking care of the restart thing. So to make the restart thing, we are going to also use this isDead variable. All you have to do is to add something here in the isDead is to clause in the top of the update function, which is before exiting out of this function, we're going to set to create here an input. So if input dot get key down keycode dot r, then our player will be able to restart the scene. So application dot load level, and what level do we want to load? Well, we want to load the level that is loaded, so we'll type here application dot loaded level, like so. Oh, and I forgot, like that. And now if we hit play, I'm hitting R right now and nothing is happening, but when I die and I hit R, you see that the level is restarted. By the way, one thing that you also could do to show that you can restart by pressing the R key is to create here a game object, which is a UI text, and just type here in the text R to restart. We will set it to by default to be inactive so that the player won't be able to see it. And here on the top near the bool is dead, I'm going to put here a public game object and name it restart text. And here, whenever our player dies, we will set that restart text dot set active to make it go back to be shown, like so. And now simply if we go onto our player, into that restart text thing, put the text into there, and if we play, the text doesn't show, but whenever we go into the spikes, the text shows over there, to warning us that we can press R to restart. Okay, finally, one last thing that we have to do to make our player die is, for example, when he collides with this, and because this is not a trigger, that function that we created won't go off. So we're going to create that, and also with this shooter over here, sometimes it won't work. So we're going to create two new functions, very similar to the onTriggerEnter function that we created, to make it collide with this and with the projectile. Anyways, go onto the player script and copy the void onTriggerEnter 2D 2 times, and in one of them just replace the onTriggerEnter by onTriggerStay, and that will solve it. And in the other one, instead of having onTrigger, have onCollisionEnter, and in here instead of having collider 2D, have collision 2D, and instead of having other.tag, have other.gameObject.tag. And this will make our player collide with the projectiles and with the enemy, as I'm going to show you right now. As you can see, our player dies when he goes into the enemy, and if he goes into the projectiles, he will also die, just like you can see. And that is it for today, guys. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next tutorial.